Hey crafty family, it's me, and today I am doing another video for the Creative Arts Collaboration January hashtag YouTube event, hashtag Color of the Year Art. And I explained what this was in my last video. It's a collaboration event for YouTube creators like myself and lots of others. And if you put in the hashtag, hashtag Color of the Year Art, all one word, into the YouTube search, you can find other artists who are also participating in this, and the theme is Color of the Year, which the color of the year this year, there's actually two of them, and it's Serenity, which is a blue color, and Rose Quartz, which is a light pink color. I'm going to incorporate these two color paints into mine. Here's a better look at the colors. I think it's like, you know, this is kind of like different hues of the color or whatever, different, I don't know, whatever. You know, there's a little bit of lighter blue and a little bit of lighter pink. You know, it's kind of like a family of the colors, Serenity and Rose Quartz. So, today, how I want to do this is, okay, so let me try to explain this way. I used to use, like, sometimes I would use prompts when I would work with mixed media, and I used to have like some things written on index card, and then I cut it up and I would put it into a little thing, and I would pick one, and they were prompts that would help me with my mixed media. Like one might say, you know, use paint, or one would say use stencil, one would say use texture paste, and it would help if I ever got stuck in a jam. And you know, and I know that now there's actually a company or something that has actually made mixed media cards for this reason. But I decided to make my own set of cards and make a challenge out of it. And I called it the Mixed Media Mashup. And basically, I made this cute little box for my cards. And basically, because I was going to redo mine because I had found them when I was looking for something else, and I ended up throwing them away because they were all covered in paint and ink and they were just gross. And I was like, you know, I haven't used them in a long time, so I chucked them. But I was like, you know, I really need to make another set. So that is what I did. I made myself a set of cards, and they're laminated so that if they get paint on them, I can just wipe them right off. I used a couple different backgrounds of pattern paper on the back, and I laminated them, and I used pink ink to ink the edges. And on the other side, it has the prompts: distress, water-soluble crayons, add certain elements, this, that, and the other. And I'll explain how this works, or at least how it's going to work for my set of cards. And actually, hold on one second, I'll be right back. I have to grab something. Okay, sorry, I had to grab something. I totally forgot to get off my desk because I printed out some of the instructions for the challenge, because these cards can be used one of two ways. You can use them for like this challenge that I'm going to talk about, or you could just use them as general prompts for when you feel stuck in a mixed media project. You could just pick some cards and it'll help give you some inspiration. But for the challenge, how this works is, okay, let me go through the cards really quick and show you what I have, and I'll kind of explain them. You've got distress, okay? You've got water-soluble crayons or markers. You've got add non-porous elements, which means non-porous, metal, glass, like glass beads or something, plastic, which is non-porous, anything non-porous, anything that you know, that is, you know, like what I just said. Free for one, I'll explain that one in a minute. Random box, I'll explain that one in a minute. Dry or wet emboss. Dry embossing mean an embossing folder. Wet emboss meaning using ink and embossing powder. Or these can mean several things. I'm going to go over that as well. Doodle or draw. That's pretty self-explanatory. Watercolor. Ink. Add paint or ink splatters or drips. Use stamps. Stencil. Add porous elements, meaning wood, paper, lace, fabric, etc. Add decorative embellishments. This can be, you know, any embellishments, flowers, what have you. Chalk pastels. Add dimension. This could mean anything, really. Add any kind of dimensional objects. Colored pencil. Grab first thing to your right. I'll explain that one. Paint and ink sprays. Add paper. Acrylic paint. Oil pastels. Collage or decoupage ephemera. Add gesso. Texture paste. My cards are getting messy. Add sparkle. Free for two. I'll explain that. Grab first thing to your left. I didn't explain that. Add tape, like washi tape. Markers or pens. Flip for three. I'll explain that in a minute. Finger paint. Add texture. And add words or quotes. Okay, so I'm going to explain these other cards here. For the challenge part of it, if you do this as a challenge, what you're going to do is you're going to set a timer, and you can choose however you want to do it. See, like some challenges I feel like can be stressful for some people. So I wanted this to be kind of where you can kind of make your own rules, but you got to set a rule and then stick to it. So you got to figure out what works best for you. Like some people might want to do it for just 15 minutes. Other people might want to do a bigger project and do it for 30 minutes. Maybe even somebody will want to do it for an hour. Who knows, or 45 minutes or even 5 minutes. You're going to kind of set that timer. I put in the guidelines on the paper to work for 15 or 30 minutes. Like set your timer for 15 or 30 minutes, but really you can kind of adjust it to how you feel you'll need it. And then basically I put you can work for 15 or 30 minutes, all depends on what you want to do. Put your gesso or base paints on first if you want. So you don't have to, you can actually start bare bones, but you know, since a lot of the prompts say like add words or quote, that's not something you might do right away. So I give you the option of if you want to add gesso and like your base colors first and then start picking cards, you know, it might make it easier on you. Pull one card and either limit yourself to work on that for 2 minutes and then move on to the next card, or work on it as much as you want and then move on to the next card, keeping in mind that if you don't limit yourself, time has a way of getting away from you, and 12 or even 30 minutes, or I meant to say 15 or even 30 minutes is not that long. I need to change that because, whoops, I don't know why I put 12. It's supposed to be 15. 15 or even 30 minutes isn't that long. So in other words, if you decide, and you know, you need to make your rules up before you start. So if you say, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 15 minutes and I'm going to pull a card and just work on it as long as I want to, and then move on to my next card. If you do it that way, if you like, let's say you pick add texture and you're just adding texture and you don't realize it, you're going to go for, you know, you can go for 5 or 8 minutes adding texture and then you've, you know, used up half of your time. So you can choose if you want to do it that way or set it where it's like got it like a 1 or 2 minute limit, and that's it. You work on it for a minute or two and then you put it aside. So that's kind of what that means. You may skip no more than 3 cards in a 15-minute session or 5 cards in a 30-minute session. So let's say you pick a card and it's not something you're ready to do or want to do, like add words or quote, you're not ready for that, you can skip it. But if for some reason you come back around to that card, which I don't think you will because there's 30-something cards here, but if you did, you can't skip it second time. You can only skip it once. It says you may not skip the same card twice if it does happen to come back around. If you do not own or have any way of doing one of the prompts or on the card at all, then you may skip it without it being one of your official skips. Or at the beginning, pull out any cards you don't think you can do. So in other words, if you don't have any stencils, you know, for some reason, you can skip it without it counting towards your, you know, allotted skipping cards. Or just pull them out in the beginning. Make it easier on yourself if you really don't have something. Let's see. You don't have to count the time it takes to prepare for the task. In other words, if you pick the card texture paste, you can pause your timer to fetch your supplies so that the time is spent is blah, blah, blah. You can pause the timer to fetch your supplies so that the time spent is create time, not fetching and setting up your supplies time. So in other words, just like it says, you can, you know, get the card that says stencil, hit pause on your timer, because if you're like me, you can use the timer on your phone. Hit pause on it, go get your stencils, because I can't possibly put out every supply I own for this. It would be impossible, and I have a very little workspace, so I try to keep everything put away. I don't like having a lot of stuff. You know, oh, I'm going to use this, so I'm going to put that. I'm going to put stencils. I'm going to put texture paste. I'm going to put markers. I'm going to put pen. I'm not going to put all this in my workspace. So it's easier for me. So I kind of made this selfishly designed around myself. But I figure a lot of people are like that too. So this way you can hit pause and go get your crap and bring it back, and then hit, you know, pause again to start it, so that you don't have to waste your time fetching your supplies, which is going to eat into your 15 or 30 minutes significantly. Let's see. Let's start with the cards. These cards that I pulled aside. The cards that say free for 1 or 2, so this one here and this one here, okay, means that for 1 or 2 minutes you could do whatever you want. So in other words, if you pick the free for 1, that means you could do whatever you want for a minute. Or if you pick the free for 2, obviously that means you could do whatever you want for 2 minutes. Random box. This is optional, but get a box and go around and collect up to 10 random items or supplies for your box. For instance, my items might be 1 distress paint, 1 alcohol ink, 1 marker, 1 pack of rhinestones, 1 flower, 1 stamp, 1 sticker, etc. Try to make it a good mix of both dry and wet supplies, meaning like a paint, a marker, an ink would be wet supplies, dry supplies, stickers, washi tape, rhinestones, flowers, etc. Your random box is like just going to be a little box that you keep aside. I'm trying to find a box that would be a good size. This is probably too big, but maybe a box this size, and you can label it and decorate it and call it your random box. And you would use this when you get the card that says random box. Then you would go and you would pick. Now you can decide ahead of time how many items you want to allow yourself to pick, but I would say no more than 3 things out of the box, you know, at a time. You could pick 3 things and use those 3 things, or you could just pick 1 thing, but no more than 3, and that's your random box. I would switch out your supplies like every week or every month or whatever, so that you don't get bored of them. So you can, you know, switch things out, or as you use something up, replace it with something, you know, do it however you need to do it, but make yourself a random box. I thought that would be a fun element to add in. Hold on. Fixing my camera. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's your random box. Let's see. The other thing was, let's see. Oh, the other one that I don't think I mentioned in here is the flip for 3. Flip for 3 means to, let's say this is what I was working on, turn it around like that and work on it like this, upside down for 3 minutes. So that means you're going to create upside down for 3 minutes, which is going to give you a totally new perspective on your project, which might be really cool. So that's that one. And then the other cards was the grab the first thing to your right, grab the first thing to your left. Now you can do it if you don't have, like, the first thing to your right isn't something you can use, then it could basically anything like to your immediate right area. So like, oh, to my right is this marker. Oh, to my left is, you know, and I don't have anything to my immediate left other than, you know, a heat gun. But to my left, I do have, like, you know, dropping stuff. I do have, like, these stamps that I can cut one of them out and use. Something like that. So those are what these mean. Grab first thing to your left, grab first thing to your right. So that's kind of what the gist is on the cards. But what's cool is I kind of made it so that most of the cards have kind of a few different meanings. So in other words, add texture could mean adding texture paste. It could mean adding some fabric for texture. It could mean adding embossing powder, heated embossing powder. It could mean adding flowers for texture, crinkled up paper, whatever. It could mean a lot of things, okay, which is good because then, you know, at least you're not stuck on something. Fingerprint paint is pretty, markers or pens. You can use your Copic markers, your watercolor markers, your Sharpie markers. For pens, you can use, your ink pens, your specialty pens, what have you. Add tape. That can mean washi tape. That could mean drywall tape. That could mean the metal foil tape. It can mean a lot of things. Add sparkle. There's, that could be sparkle sprays. It could be glitter, stuff like that. Texture paste. That's pretty self-explanatory. Gesso's self-explanatory. Collage or decoupage ephemera. That could be, any kind of really paper element. Oil pastels, acrylic paint, paper. That can mean anything, really. That can mean all kinds of different papers. So that's a good one. Paint or ink sprays. That's pretty self-explanatory. Colored pencils. That can be colored pencils or watercolor pencils. It gives you some playroom with each card, so that in case you don't come to something you really wanted, you might be able to get it out of a different card. So in other words, like if you wanted to add flowers but you didn't come across the add embellishments card, you might get the add dimension card and you can add your flowers. So it gives you a little bit of wiggle room with some of these cards, because dimension can mean a lot of things, which is good if you end up getting some cards that you're like, I'm kind of stumped. You might come across a card that has a few meanings in it and you can do something you want to do. Chalk pastels, add decorative embellishments. Again, that could mean a lot of things, which is kind of good. Porous elements, that could mean a ton of things. Stencil. You can stencil through regular standard stencils, or you can stencil, with texture paste. That's a stencil. You could stencil with your sprays. You could stencil with ink. You could stencil with markers. It's endless. Stamps. You can use the stamps with ink. Use the stamps with paint. You can stamp with things, like caps to things, and stamp with anything. It doesn't have to be stamps themselves. It's just stamping. Adding paint or ink splatters, you can do that with anything. Ink, that could be ink the edges. That can be ink a stamp. That can be ink on a brush, like the distress inks, how you can put them on your palette and use them as watercolors. See what I mean? Like, you could play with it a little bit and get a little bit out of it. It doesn't mean, like, you can't go as far as saying ink. Oh, that means paint. No, it doesn't mean paint, but there's several ways you can use ink. Let's see. Dry or wet emboss. Well, we already went over that, right? Well, we pretty much went over everything. But, yeah, and distress. That can mean distress some of the elements on your project. That can mean pick up your whole project and distress all the edges. There's a lot of things. And I have other cards that I'm going to add in here and there, which is why I made the box that I made bigger than I needed, because I've got like plenty of room to grow, because I've probably got ideas for another 20 or so cards. And I would love it if you guys would let me know your ideas for cards in the future, down below. But what I want to do is offer this to you guys. Anybody who wants the rules and also all the prompts, I'll actually fix that so it says 15 properly. I'll go back and adjust that. But anyway, all the prompts are here, and I had them separated like this so much because I was going to do something different on my cards and cut out a bigger area, but I ended up not doing that. So you're going to get them and they're going to be like separated like this. I apologize. I'm not fixing it because it was a pain in the ass to get it like this in the first place. But yeah, all of them are here, and you could just cut them out and glue them onto cut up pattern paper. I made them 2.5 by 3.5 standard pocket letter size or art card size. I just kind of stuck with that. You can cut them out and you can print them in any color you want. And you can either print them directly onto some pattern paper, cut it down to 8.5 by 11, stick it in the printer, and if you want to adjust with them and print them that way, or you could just cut them out, print them on white paper, cut them out, and use them however you want to use them. So you could do that. It'll also come with the the mixed media mashup kind of guidelines so you can play along. And I figured it would be so much fun to do. I just thought it'd be fun. And I guess, obviously you have to have a printer. And if you want them laminated, obviously you have to have a laminator. But if you don't have to laminate them, you can just make cards out of them. You'll just have to be able to slightly more careful with them so you don't get crap all over them. I mean, if they get crappy, whatever, you can reprint them. I guess if somebody wanted me to, if you want me to make you a set of these, it'll come just like this, except they might be different colors. You can tell me, I like blues, I like pinks, but you can't pick specific patterns because that would just take forever. But if you want, a set that is fully laminated like this, you can pick the distress ink that I put on the outside of everything, and I'll make a box that kind of matches it. Just let me know, and I guess, I don't know, let's say $25, and I'll make you a set and send it to you. $25 plus shipping, so it might be like $4 or $5 to ship it. But it'll be all laminated, and anytime I have new cards, I can, for just like a couple dollars, I can make you the new cards and send them to you. Or you could send me a self-addressed stamped envelope and I can send them to you. Because I might do like every month, I might do like 5 or so cards to add to it or something. So if you're interested in that, pinkpoodlecrafts@gmail.com, just shoot me an email and let me know. But otherwise, it'll be free. I will email this. It's a Word document. I will email it to anybody who wants it. And you can make your own. And you can make them as creative as you want. And it could be really fun. So just email me again, pinkpoodlecrafts@gmail.com, if you want this file so that you can print them out and make them yourself. So anyway, now that I'm done explaining the cards, we are going to play with them so you can get an example. I am not going to set a timer because I'm using my phone to record, and I do have another phone, but it's in another room and it's not charged, so I'm not going to set a timer. I'm just going to do it to give you an example so that you kind of get the idea of how much fun it can be. Of course, I don't really have a lot of supplies out, so I will have to go get something, which is fine. But like I said, we're just playing for now, so I'm going to kind of shuffle them up now that I've gotten my prompts all in. I want to make sure my prompts aren't, certain prompts aren't like all together, okay. And I don't have, hold on, I don't have a random box set up yet. I hadn't had time to do that, so I'll just pick something random from close by if that one comes up. So I'm shuffling them up. I'm going to put them here. And I'm going to take my little itty bitty journal. And I'm going to work on this page right here. So I'm going to clip down my edges. If I can get them clipped down. Ooh. And I'll even clip this one down. And put a piece of something underneath. Let's just put this paper towel underneath. Alright, now can I get the page, please? Thank you. Don't be difficult. And what I'm going to do is I am going to do my base coat real quick because I want to use the blue and the pink for the theme of the hashtag this month, the color of the year. I definitely want to use those too. So I'm going to, actually I'm just going to put a little bit of pink up here, wet my brush a little bit, and just spread this on as my background. Let me move that clip a second while I'm doing this. I want to do this as my background. I'm going to do the pink and then make a mess with the blue. Brush a little bit more. I'm not going to clean it. I'm just going to kind of get into it. I think these were the closest colors I had, and I didn't even have to mix any colors to get it, which was pretty cool. Because I thought for sure I was going to have to like mix a specialty color in order to get this pink and this blue. but I didn't, so that was pretty cool. Okay, that looks good enough to me. Okay, I think that looks cool. It's very pretty, pretty. So those are my colors that I'm going to base this off of. So anything, you know, you can obviously pick your own colors when you're doing, you know, your work with the cards. Okay, so I am just going to start picking cards. This one says add tape. First thing I need to do really quick, I forgot. Let me dry this a little bit. Nothing like adding tape and having it just peel right off. Think, McFly, think. Okay, add tape. Let's see. I got tape. I got plenty of tape. Let me grab my tape out. So this is what I mean. Like at this point, I would pause my timer and I would go to my tape. I would grab my tape box, pick out a tape. Let's see. Let's do... And of course, you know me, it always takes me forever to pick anything out. Let's do maybe that one. Oh, that one looks good. We'll do those two. I'll do a couple pieces of tape. So that was my first prompt, was to add some tape. I will try to grab a piece off of here and just randomly put some tape down. And you know, it might end up that, you know, as I'm doing it, my tape might end up getting completely covered up, but it's just another layer to your piece, which is what's fun about it, because you never know what you're going to get with this. You just don't know. You could get, like, you know, the most crazy random thing out of this. And you can love it. You might hate it. I mean, you can always go back and change it if you really want to. All right, what kind of tape is this? Dumbass tape? All right, this is the weirdest. I don't know what's going on. Am I supposed to... Is this supposed to be sticky? It is sticky. Wow, this is really weird. There we go. Okay, I got it. I figured it out. It was really weird for a second. All right. So we'll just add this one right next to it. And that was like a fabric tape. All right. I'm just going to move this out of the way so I don't end up unwinding the whole roll. Okay, so that's card number 1. Done. Next card. Add sparkle. Well, hell, that's easy. We know I can add some sparkle. Let's see. I have got some stickles right here. And what I might do is just add some circles of stickles randomly on my tape. Just in a few spots like that. And I just dropped the cap, which means I have to hunt for it. There it is. Yeah, I'm a walking disaster. So I added some sparkle. What I'm going to do is hit the heat gun on that before I pick my next card, and hopefully it'll just set it just a little bit. And that's another thing. You can always use your scissors, your heat gun, your paint brushes, your tools. You can always use your tools. They're never something that you can't use. Okay. Markers or pens? Okay, markers are good. I could do markers. Let's add some circles with these guys. Let's add some swirly circles with my markers. I might do some pink ones too. Let me get my pink marker. Do I want that one? Let's see. Get my bright pink. We're getting colorful. Just for fun. I should put some over here. Yeah, man. Sweet. Okay. And I'm just doing a quick version. I mean, obviously you can kind of do it however you want. Texture paste. Okay, I got texture paste over here. Let's see, that's crackle paint. Crackle paste. There we go. Let's do some texture paste. And let's do it. I'm trying to find my... There we go. I'm going to do it through some drywall tape. Just to give some little squares. Now, my glue is still wet, so I'm going to have to be a little careful. I may have to use this smaller piece to do it through. And you don't have to do big amounts of whatever your prompts are. You can do, you know, just add a touch of something. You don't have to go crazy if it's not something you really want to put down. Or you can just go crazy. Kind of up to you. The ball is in your court. I'm just going to go through here a little. I don't think this is really opaque texture paste, by the way. This is the kind that dries. I have hair on everything. My hair just goes on everything. This is the kind that goes on like semi-opaque or semi-transparent or something like that. Which is fine because I'm mostly using it for, because I'm going to put more layers on this, so it's going to get probably painted over, and if it doesn't, it'll look cool anyway because she'll show some of the background through maybe. I'll go right over the tape. Hold on. Alright. And I'll do a little bit more right here on the edge, and I might have to dry this a little bit before I move on. That's another thing. If you need to dry something. You know, just stop your timer and dry your piece. Because, you know, it's going to happen. It's unavoidable because some of the stuff is wet media, so let me dry that real quick for a minute. Okay, dry enough for me to get through another card, I'm sure. Add gesso. We can do that. Gesso. We can add some gesso. Just grab a brush and start adding some gesso. I can dry brush it on. You can do whatever you want. So I'm just going to dry brush some gesso here and there. I'm just going to put some here. Go over some of my circles. I can throw my circles towards the background a little bit. I mean, the whole point of this is to have fun. And you might discover a technique that you love because you were playing and just throwing stuff on here. You know, with so many different medias, you're bound to discover something and be like, oh, that's awesome, and use it in a future project, you know, and just, you know, something you never would have done because you wouldn't have thought to put that combination of things together. Let me dry real quick. I'm only going to do like one or two more just to give you, this was just to give you an idea. Colored pencil. My colored pencils are up here. I'll just grab a couple out of the thing. Just going to grab a handful of them. Ooh, we got purple. Let's see. Let's do a little ziggy zaggies. And then I'll do it in this color here, which you probably can't see very well, but I could see it. Oh, I like this color against the blue. That looks cool, actually. Groovy. I like it mixed with the purple, too. red? I can't tell. Yeah, I don't want to use red. I think I'm good with the purple and the blue. Use it to lightly outline my thing. Okay, color pencils down. Let's do one more. Free for one! Yay! I can do whatever I want. So maybe, let's see, what do I want to do? I think I want to... what do I want to do? Maybe I want to stamp something. That's what I want to do. I want to use my script to stamp. And some of this. We'll just throw some of this on there and see what happens. I'm going to use a script stamp, this stamp here, with some like purpley plum color. And just throw it on. Cute. I like that. Actually, I likes it. Now, like, this is, you know, it's starting to look very mixed media-ish, and I would probably keep going and keep going and keep going. And, you know, you get some really cool stuff out of it. And I just had a lot of fun for a couple of minutes. And, you know, it's not things I would have thought of doing, but, you know what I mean? Like, that's the point of it. The point is to just do whatever. And, you know, use the cards as your prompts to help you. Or to use it as a, you know, like this type of little game. It's kind of like a challenge to challenge yourself. Or you don't have to do that. Or you could just sit down and leisurely pick through the cards and do the prompts as you want to without any kind of like time restrictions or rules or anything like that. If you feel like skipping one, just skip one. There's no restrictions. So you can use it several different ways, or you can come up with your own way. Maybe you have a, you know, a little challenge you want to do and you want to do it a certain way. Feel free, have at it. Share it with me. Let me know what you decide to do. But I just think that's really cute. I think this is a lot of fun to play with, and I plan on doing a lot of stuff like this. And if you want to see me do it on my channel while recording, and I'll do like a full 30 minutes or whatever and do whole projects, let me know, because I'll for sure do that. And like I said, if you want the file that you can print out yourself, just email me at pinkpoodlecrafts@gmail.com. I'll be happy to send that right over to you. You'll have to print it out and do your own decorating and putting it together and the whole 9 yards. Or like I said, if you really want me to do it and you want them to come back to you laminated and in their own cute little box, just let me know. Email me and let me know that too. Okay? So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the hashtag event, and go hop around and look at all the different stuff under hashtag color of the year art, because there's a lot of really good stuff out there. There's some really fantastic paintings and just some really cool stuff. Like, I've been looking through and it's been like mind-blowing. So, and there's just more and more coming between now and the 24th. So, and then of course after the 24th you can still look back at all the art. It'll be there forever under hashtag color of the year art. So check everything out. Make sure you comment on people. Make sure you subscribe to people. Make sure you're liking people. It's important that you're doing these things. It just supports us, and it supports our art, and it makes us happy to see likes and to see comments, and it inspires us to keep going and making more videos. So be sure to do that. And I guess that's it. If you're a new subscriber or new to my channel and you found me through the hashtag, hi, you're part of the Crafty family now. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy my channel, and I hope you check out more of my videos. and leave me some comments. And if you have a channel, share it with me. I want to know your channels too. So have a great rest of your week. Make sure you do what you love and love what you do, and be nice to everybody. And I love you guys. Mwah! Bye.